Hey, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps. We've got a great show for you today. Some late breaking news that I just found out earlier today. But we'll be talking about that shortly. Let's see if everybody is with us in the chat. So, looks like it's Charles and me today so far. Lloyd was here just before the show. We were chatting, and all of a sudden he rose up, and then he disappeared. His internet just went down, but he's still on Facebook, so maybe he'll join us on his phone shortly. So let's welcome all the way from New York State. It's Charles Galusky. Welcome, welcome. Good to
Hey
see
everybody,
you,
hey
sir.
Art.
Hey,
Lloyd, if you're out
what's
there,
up?
hello. I think he was just shy actually.
Could be. Yeah, maybe it was those bikini babes I had on my show last night. Beautiful weather here today. It's in
Yes.
the 80s. Flew my DJI FPV drone. Got some great footage. So hopefully later this week, maybe even tonight, I'll have some video uploaded.
Cool.
So, how's the weather in your neck of the woods?
Oh, seasonably cool and lovely.
Good.
It's supposed to start raining later on tonight and rain all day tomorrow, but today it was like, high 60s, low 70s. Mom and I did our thing where we went up and got our favorite ice cream place, got our favorite ice cream, gassed up the truck, and then did some grocery shopping. So
Mm. Well, speaking of being in the mid 60s, let's welcome Lloyd Mendenhall.
hey
Welcome,
Lloyd.
Hey
welcome.
guys, I hope
Hey,
you're not
welcome
getting any
back.
feedback. Yeah, I'm here. I'm using my phone right now, as you can tell. So, uh,
Yep.
but our internet went down again. Went all
Oh
weekend,
boy.
worked fine. It's worked for the last 3 days. It's been great, and then all of a sudden today, they started
Ah,
screwing up again. So,
those darn squirrels.
yeah, I know. It's. I don't guess I need that, but hopefully you're not getting any feedback from me.
Nope.
No.
Just dogs barking. Yep.
Yeah, well, he's an idiot. I can't help that. So anyway, yeah. So how you doing, Charles?
Doing good, Lloyd. How are you?
Can't complain. Well, you know, the internet. That's the only thing I got to complain about. But yeah. So, anyways, I want to say hi to everybody out there. I'll be here if my internet comes back up. I'll be back on here. But right now, I just wanted to let you know that internet problems again.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing
In
this.
a red state? Wow.
Yeah, I know,
Unheard of.
right? Yeah. Oh, it's just
Well, let's
it's
say
ridiculous.
hello to a few people in the chat. We've got Steve Knowles, we got Michael, Cool Cat, Charles Gillespie, and Joe, Captain Joe Merca, USA Drone Flyer, and the Grumpy Vlogger, and Three Conservative Gimps. Welcome, welcome, everybody. So, today, learned earlier today that Mitt Romney is not going to seek reelection for the Senate.
Well, that's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? Yeah, I heard that I don't know earlier this week, this last week, and it's just like it's about time. He probably, his problem is he's facing a lot of uh, complaints from his
Primaries.
party. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got people that's going to challenge him. So rather than uh, continue to play his games, he's just decided to to heck with it and
Right.
getting off, or getting out of the game.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
now we just get
And
a few
plus,
more like that to retire.
yeah, that's true. Plus, he didn't want to have to deal with another term of Trump, and which he wasn't a big fan of Trump, and most likely he voted for Biden for president.
He probably
Yeah.
did, yeah, because he just couldn't stand Trump, and and that's the problem with the conservative movement / Republican Party, is that they get an idea in their head that they don't like, the person that's running, and so they do, they say one thing out front and say something else out the back,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
as my brother used to tell me, he's talking out his butt because his mouth knows better.
Yeah. That's true. And
Yeah.
plus, I think he was trying to out McCain. You
Oh,
know,
yeah, 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 yeah. It's
which
I mean, so I got a question though, and you guys, I'm sure, have seen the newest polls about Trump.
no, I
Trump.
haven't.
No, I haven't.
Trump versus Biden, and this is a Gallup poll, and right now, the independents are feeling that Trump has the mental acuity to do the job, whereas Biden is. I mean, it was like it's a switch from 2 years ago, where they didn't think Trump had two brain cells rubbed together, and Biden was the hero of the movement,
Right.
and it's changed. It's like somewhere around 60% of the uh,
Wow.
60% of the people. Oh, it looks like I'm getting my internet back. So, uh,
Oh, good.
but I mean, it's a huge poll for the independents. It's 60 or 70% of the people believe that Biden is not fit for office, and that Trump is far better. I think he's only got like between 25 and 35% that don't think he's got the mental acuity to be the president. And that means the other 75 to 68%, but somewhere in that line, believe that he can do the job. And the only thing I caution against, I've said this before, is that I see the press in their convoluted way of doing things, of picking our nominee. They've done it. They did it with they did it with McCain. They did it with Romney.
Yep.
They put out this disinformation, and then they they put out the disinformation. Then all of a sudden that we got a guy, and then all of a sudden everybody said, "Well, we just knew he was going to win according to the polls," and they're picking our candidate for us, so we need to be careful about that. The press is good
Right.
about picking the Republican front runners, and to
Right.
me, everybody's we're all like, "Oh yeah, who yeah," everybody's Trump's doing great. Trump's doing great. He's gaining ground, but will he? Will he be another Romney or McCain for us? That's what we got to
Yeah,
look at.
that's true. But I think
You know,
what's different between Trump and those guys is he actually wants to win. Where I don't think Romney or McCain wanted to win. I think they didn't want to win because they didn't want to be perceived as the white guy that beat a black man.
well,
So,
yeah, that's very true. But I think on the other hand, it still goes down to that. The left is very, very tricky in the way they play these games. They've got the,
mhm,
you know, uh, why are they putting Biden? Why have they jumped Biden up there? Just because he's the current president, they put him up there. Like everybody's saying he shouldn't run, but yet when they do these head to heads, Trump is moving ahead, and I think he's the lesser of two evils for the left, and it gives them something
mhm,
to hate. and we'll
Yeah.
have 4 more years of nothing but a divided nation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, like it isn't divided now.
well, that's what I mean. I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't had a unified nation uh, since
Since
as I
9/11.
talked about on my show,
Yeah.
9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I
Mm-hmm.
talked about on
Oh,
my
by the
show.
way, that was a great show.
Yeah, it was a good show. I really enjoyed doing that. It just
Mm-hmm.
I felt like everything fell in place, and I said, like I said, the next day was 9/12. What did you do the second day? Where are you at, and why aren't we there now? I mean, here we are, uh,
Mm-hmm.
22 years later, and we're as divided as we were during the time, more divided than we were during Hanging Chads.
Mm-hmm.
And we've
Right.
had 20 some odd years of war, and with nothing to show for it.
Right.
So many. I was watching. I've been watching. We've been binging on NCIS, and you start watching some of the stuff and the sacrifices that those people made, and they're based off of some of them is based off of actual events, and
Right.
I look at it and I'm thinking, wow, where did we go wrong?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
and that's what the left wants to do, and that's uh I just think that let me see if this nope stupid thing
Yep.
nope well, I'll just continue to hold it. But anyways, the left is picking our candidates for us again. If Trump is elected, and I'm a Trump supporter, don't get me wrong,
Right.
I will vote for him when the time comes.
Yep.
If he's our
Mm-hmm.
nominee, by God, he'll get my support, 100% of it. But
Mm-hmm.
we're at that turning point. We've got a young class of people that they spend more time trying to be in touch with their feelings, and trying to
Mm-hmm.
identify, like
Mm-hmm.
we've got such a all of our media, everything's geared towards identity. I heard something today. Tyrus, he's talking
Right.
about, there was a thing today about, he was talking about, one of his opening things was about the triangle is now identifying as a square or a circle,
Mm-hmm.
or some garbage, and this is the type of crap they're pushing. And it
Yep.
was it was funny to hear him read that off, and it
Mm-hmm.
apparently is from at least one
But not everybody
education
deserves
system.
happiness.
Yeah. And but I think I think we're being led down a path that, as far as the left is winning, in spite of what we're seeing things turn back around. The pendulum's starting to swing. They did a poll on identity things about, should athletes be allowed to play in their chosen gender rather than their uh, uh, their assigned gender, or their birth gender. You know, 76% of the people that were polled said no. They should go according to their birth gender, not their
Yep.
chosen gender.
Right.
But you're not hearing that on the news, and so we're seeing the pendulum start to swing the other way. But
Right.
and that poll, I think, was an AP poll, as a matter of fact. So yeah,
Mm.
you got Gallup and the AP both showing things in a positive light for
Mm-hmm.
conservatives right now. But how many times have the polls been wrong over the last 22
Yeah.
years?
Yeah. Well, I mean, weren't the polls saying Hillary was going to win?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
in all honesty, I don't, and that brings up another thing about, how much during the time, they're talking about, they've indicted Trump on these things that trying to interfere with elections,
Mm-hmm.
and yet we have, we had the Hillary camp that they didn't give up for 4 years. She said it was stolen from her for 4 years. He says it, and he's going, and they're trying to put him in jail for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this goes back to, like I said, this actually goes back to probably Bill Clinton. Is when some of this divide started, and it just has continually gotten worse. And as I said, now we're letting the press
Media?
pick our candidate for us.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to stuff like that. And I'm getting glitching. I can see I'm glitching again. So
Mm-hmm.
let me see. Yeah. Even my Wi-Fi is acting up today. So
Wow.
5G. I've got a 5G network and it still sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to see if it's coming back on. It's showing it's got connection, but it's not working. So
Wow.
But anyways, those are some thoughts I was having today that I was going to talk
Right.
about on the show. And because my internet screwed up, I'm probably going to bail out of here.
Okay.
And but I wanted give everybody, like I said, last Monday's show was a great show. I thought we talked about a lot of great stuff. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And try and figure out where we what happened. Why aren't we as united as we were on 9/12? Because on 9/12 we were definitely more united.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
we were, and I blame education.
Well, yeah, and education's been causing us problems since the '60s.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What was that saying? Drop in, drop out, or get high, or something. Who was it? I forgot. I can't remember. Hell, it was the '60s. If you remember the '60s, you weren't living it.
Hey, we're in the '60s, Lloyd. You're what, 65, 66?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're, as far as our age goes, we're in our 60s or plus. And as far as being alive during the 60s,
He's the
that
babe
was
on this.
yeah, he's a youngin', I know. He's just a kid.
Yeah, he's the young guy. Yep.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna drop out of here and let you guys have a good show. Sorry about my internet.
All right.
Maybe I'll get it. It keeps trying to pop on and it goes right back out. So anyways,
all right.
Real quick, how's Judy doing?
Judy's doing better. Well, I got us moved back into the larger bedroom with the handicap adaptation, and it's I still got a lot of work to do, but I've got it now where she can get around, and she's just doing better. She's breathing a little better. She's sleeping better, and so it's it's just one of those things. The progression of her diseases just goes in steps. She'll have several good days, and then it starts driving. And each time she goes back, her recovery is a little less than what it was before it started. So,
right,
it's just the progression of both the COPD, the Parkinson's, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, thanks everybody who's reached out to me about that and asked about that. I really appreciate that. So, anyways, have a good show, guys.
Take care,
Thanks
Lloyd.
for popping in, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Hopefully your internet will be back up.
I'm going to get up early tomorrow morning and start calling and raising hell. That's what I'm going to do.
There you go.
Anyway, all right. We'll talk at you later.
All right. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, Lloyd.
So we'll move into our next topic. We'll talk about the woke left is now after Conan O'Brien because he dared to figure out what was going on, and he's saying, why are we kowtowing to all this? I mean, what's going on here? And so they're after him. They're trying to break him and make him apologize for his transgression, like what happened with Jimmy Fallon, because he got on the wrong side of the woke crowd, and he actually had, he apologized, especially what was it? I guess right after Trump went down the escalator, he had him on his show, and they gave him a lot of crap about that. So he he apologized for having this guy on. It's like, why? You did
Yeah.
the right thing because he was the hot item for TV. You know, if you want your ratings to
Hmm.
go up, I mean, that was brilliant that he had him on there. I didn't think he would invite him because everybody knows how liberal Jimmy Fallon is. So, so now uh, wokeness has really messed with the comedy scene, and it's
Yeah, it's
gotten to
messed
a
with
point
everything.
where you can't
You
make
can't make a joke
fun
about
of.
anything.
I
Yeah.
mean, comedy is, I believe, is about being uncomfortable. You know, talking about stuff that's uncomfortable, but in a humorous way to kind of bring down the temperature in the room, and they,
To poke
point out
fun at.
how dumb this is.
Yep. No, I
You're,
no, I agree. Yep. To
we want
be.
any friction between us. Don't be so
Well, no, it's just really
argumentative, Charles.
the well, we're you're making sense. What you're saying is making sense to me. I have no desire to argue against it.
Hmm. Good, good.
I think
And
you're
we're
correct.
on the same page anyway. That's why it's called Three Conservative Gimps. And
I
uh,
would. The only thing I would say is that comedians are what the modern day court jester would be, or
but
part that's part of their purpose. Their
hmm.
oh, there was a fancy term for it, and I can't remember what it is now. I'll remember it in 3 weeks, probably.
Yeah. Well, Cool Cat's got a good point. He said, comedy has always been spoken truth to power. It's about finding where the boundaries are. It's generally the first victim of
Oh yeah.
authoritarianism, which is correct. Which is correct. And I, and Roseanne, of all people, she's very left leaning, has come to realize, hey, this is bad stuff. This is what happened in Germany back in the 30s, and they went after a certain segment of their society, and they started a war that killed like six,
Yep.
6 to 10 million people. And anybody that made fun of Adolf Hitler, they went to jail, and there were a few
Yeah.
comedians that crossed the line, and they ended up getting arrested and going to concentration camps. Yeah. And we got Ronnie. God bless America. Good to see you, sir. Welcome, welcome. And I've done comedy for 25 years, and I think the change in comedy really started right after 9/11. That's when I watched how the comedy world just changed. All of a sudden, it because we were at war with terrorists, and we were fighting in several places, and it became a wedge issue. It was an issue us against them, instead of trying to, you know, just be flipping funny and going after each other. And it just And that's why I got out of the business. That's one of many reasons why I got out of the business. I just saw it changing. I go, I don't want to be part of that. And then over the years, I saw some of my conservative comedian friends lose work because some of their so-called friends in comedy all of a sudden turned against them and had them removed from some shows in their town. So uh, I go, that's just plain wrong. That's just you're
Yep.
fueling the leftism uh, that wants to divide this country and destroyed comedy.
No, I didn't see that because I've never done comedy professionally, but I can see how that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt what you say for a moment.
And you live in New York State, which is kind of the big place to be in comedy. New York City,
Yeah.
Boston, Philadelphia, and then out in California, you got L.A. and San Francisco. And I started here in Denver, which at the time I started was beginning to be a real thriving comedy mecca here. And we produce a lot of really funny guys. But the downside to it was uh, the clubs here. We'll work the clubs here and just have great shows, trying out new material, and the audiences love us. And then we go out on the road and we are working our asses off to try to get laughs that we're killing it in
Hmm.
Denver. And that kind of uh, hurt the comics from Denver because they'll send out their promo tapes to clubs around the country, and they said, "Did you record this at the Comedy Awards?" Well, how much stock are we going to take into that? Because you look funny, I like your material, but how well is that going to play in this club? So that was the downside, and that's why when I was doing comedy, I would try to do auditions at clubs
Hmm.
so that the manager or the booking agent can see if how well I did at their club. And if they like me, they'll book me. And if not, they'll say, well, you might need a little work on some of your material. So work on that and get back with us in, I don't know, a few months, and we'll see how it goes. And that's just how the business was back then. And this was before the internet really took off. And
Hmm.
now you got email, and you could. It's so much easier to communicate with club owners and booking managers. That it was a lot tougher back in my day. We didn't have cell phones. We actually had to get on a landline and call a lot of clubs, and back then it cost a lot of money to do that. Hold on.
Hmm.
So I'm back.
I imagine you also had, when you went to school, you had to walk uphill and downhill
In the
in the snow.
snow, both
Yeah.
ways. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, 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 yeah. And also, it was so long ago, we didn't have history class because we were history. And if we got thirsty, we actually had to take two hydrogen atoms, or hydrogen and oxygen atoms, smash them together to make water.
Banging rocks together.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's right. Reaching back into the vault of golden oldies comedy.
Oh, now what did I? Excuse me. I was gonna send you this this video from this guy. He is a former. Well, I don't know if he's former Army, because he did a video about how he had to go back in for training recently, but he might have gone from full-time military to like active reserves or National Guard or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think maybe his full-time job might be to be a police officer because of his show name. But he was talking about all this stuff that went on with the Iran spy trade, and how how some of the people that were a lot of the 5 people that were given back to us, they only released the names of 3 people because 2 of them might actually have been spies. And then he talked about some British kid who managed to get arrested for spying, and then he escaped. I mean, his story is like something out of a like literally like something out of a movie. He got out of his British base or camp or whatever they call it by having a couple of cans of shaving cream wired together, duct taped together with food in it, and he managed to survive for 2 months on that somehow. And then he got caught, and then he escaped. And when he escaped, he lashed himself to the bottom of a supply truck to get out of the prison where he was. I guess something they called level 2B prison. I don't know what that. I don't know how that.
Right.
I think that's
lower level security.
Yeah, I have no idea how that translates to like an American military prison.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, here we have Supermax, where we got the big name people like the Blind Sheikh. Ted Kaczynski was here before he passed away. Terry Nichols before, let's see. Oh, and Tim McVeigh was here before he was executed. And I think Zernayev is here as well. Oh, and we got Jared, of Subway fame.
Oh, wow. I thought he was out.
Yeah. He may be out by now.
Yeah, because I thought I heard about, despite everything that's gone on with him, somebody's hired him for something, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, well, is he making 6 inches instead of foot longs? Yeah, I had a comedian friend. He got arrested for robbing a Subway store. So he did several months in the state penitentiary.
And that's it. No punchline.
That's it. Oh. And so it's not just in comedy. It's in the media itself. If anybody gets out of line in media, they get ostracized and kicked to the curb. Like what happened to that actress that got kicked off of that Star Wars series.
Yeah, Gina Carano, the Mandalorian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and what did she do? She just said, she was talking about how all of a sudden, I mean, if you talk talk to somebody who's Jewish, they say that she sort of, what was the word? Oh, I hate this. That she sort of, well, the only thing I can think of is overplayed. You know, that the Holocaust reference that she made was like too much, like a hill too far. But what all she was trying to say is it's dangerous to be a conservative.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it is. I mean, we got Kevin Sorbo, we've got Kelsey Grammer, we got
Really, he's a conservative. I never would have thought. He's got a new show coming up. They're redoing Frasier. Well, not redoing it, but
right?
They're doing like Frasier 2.0. He's back living in Boston.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but of course, Niles and his
Kelsey
dad aren't there because
Grammer
those two actors have passed away.
and Kirk Cameron is also conservative.
And Scott Baio? No.
Scott Baio, yep. And he's also conservative, yep.
What about now? He's not the guy that played the Karate Kid, though.
No, that's Ralph Macchio.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Scott Baio was Chachi. The Fonz's.
Cool cat mentioning Russell Brand. He now has a very popular show on Rumble.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Tim Allen is also conservative. Yeah. I mean, his show got canceled from ABC, and then Fox picked it up, and it ran for another 4 years, and he had a nice long run on Last Man Standing, which did better than Home Improvement. That only lasted 5-6 years, maybe more.
I don't remember. Yeah, it's like but then he had a few seasons there where they replaced like his youngest daughter with an Asian. No,
that was the middle daughter. Mandy got replaced, and then they added Asian kid.
Yeah, to replace his youngest daughter.
Well, she was an exchange student.
Right, exactly. But I mean, she was living there in the house.
Yes,
and that character, the youngest daughter character, we never saw her again. So
right.
I'm assuming that
she went to the Air Force Academy in the show because the show was supposed to be in Denver, and she was a football player in high school.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. And we got Mark R. White. Welcome. So.
And did we say hello to Lee? I mean, I got him in the chat. Hey, Lee. Yellow Rose.
Oh, hey, Lee. You mean Bill Haley in the comment? Well, it looks like my Broncos are going to lose another game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. They looked good when I watched it on TV, and then right before the half, they just started to fade, and the other team started coming back. Come on, you're up 21-3. How do you blow a game like that?
They must have really got tired or something.
Yeah. So
they were spiking their Gatorade.
Yeah. So that's what's going on here. We got woke just destroying, entertainment. You got all this garbage that's being pushed into sitcoms And even with I've been watching Kim's Convenience. And that's out of Canada, so I kind of cut them some slack for some of the stuff that they do on that show
Well,
because it's out of
it's all forms. If it's all forms of entertainment.
yep. Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the bigger controversies is this. You're probably not familiar with the channel Heel versus Babyface, are you? Probably
No.
not. He's a YouTuber and a gamer, and there was a new game recently released called Starfield.
Right.
And when you start it up and you start creating a character to play in the game, you are forced to choose pronouns.
Oh boy.
And I guess that's happening more and more in games. And then as you play in the middle of everything, there's this character who reveals that she is a clone of a man. So then there, he lost his shit because it's constantly what they're being called current daying, meaning they're forcing all this stuff from the current day into the game. So you like if you or somebody who would play a game and get lost in playing a game, probably very similar to the way a lot of us folks get lost flying our drones.
Right.
That you constantly get torn back into the real world that you're trying to escape with all this current day stuff. Forced to use pronouns, forced to confront gender ambiguity and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost his shit, had a huge meltdown and a rant, and then all these people on the left started attacking him on Twitter and whatnot. Luckily, he had he wasn't alone. There are plenty of other gamers out there who are sick and tired of this nonsense too, and so they all came to his defense and whatnot. And then there are people who create modifications for games. They're called mods, and you can upload them to a central space so that if somebody wants to play that modification, they can just download it, insert it into the game, and then you can play with whatever that modification happens to be. And so people had created modifications to delete that beginning where you were forced to choose a pronoun. And the company that was hosting all those mods deleted all those mods and banned all the people that were making those mods.
Oh.
I mean, this is ridiculous. This is these are people who have just said, okay, we don't want to do this. And they've put that up there. And so now what with all this stuff having been banned and all these people having been banned, they're now forcing you to do this kind of thing. And that's one of the things that this the guy's name is Az, but his channel name is Heel versus Babyface. And that's what he was talking about, how you're being all this nonsense is being forced into every single aspect of our entertainment.
Right.
There's nowhere to get away from where you can just get away from everything.
You could start your own platform and get away from all that crazy stuff and have it stipulated we're not going to have pronouns. This is his, her, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. So you can go on and go play your other games. So, and I think that's what's going to end up happening. And
it's like,
you open my eyes to how it's even affecting the gaming world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cool Cat said that the game was boycotted to smithereens.
Right.
Now, Cool Cat says he was an English guy, but one of the people that was defending him said he was a New Zealander. I don't know. I don't detect much of a difference in the accent between certain British accents and a New Zealand accent. So I really don't know what the case is with him.
Well, because his address is in England.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
wow, that's interesting. That's why I like playing card games. If I play cribbage, those pegs are not they or them or Z or Latinx or whatever.
well, apparently a lot of people are boycotting the game and not liking the game, not only because of that, but because there's a lot of it where people were like, you got to be kidding me. Here we are in 2023 with all this technology, and this is how the game is playing out. This is how boring it is, and you're not putting out a better effort. So
right.
But that just goes to show you how pervasive this stuff has gotten.
Yep. And this kind of stuff has been going on for a long time. Remember how about the big push against MSG? And how about
Chinese food ingredient?
Yeah, I know. Just because 1 or 2% of the will are have an adverse, effect to it. Like, hey, don't order anything with MSG. Let the rest of us enjoy. Oh, and the other thing is GMOs. Oh, how dangerous that is. We've been doing GMO for 2,000 years.
Well,
That's how we've got the
we
different
haven't.
varieties of grain.
We haven't really, because modern GMO stuff is where actual gene splicing is taking place. It's not the same thing at all as the kind of things like for example, the carrot. Yes, where you're talking about the wheat, about the grains, or about the carrots,
Right.
about how the Dutch
Corn.
took different varieties of carrots and interbred them. What we've got now is we've got gene splicing where they're just taking a particular gene out and putting something else in, like the modern day tomato has frog genes woven into it to make it more robust. And corn
frog genes.
Yeah, that's
wow.
yes. And corn has been genetically modified to produce a chemical that like if there's a particular there are some particular predator bugs which get into corn,
borers,
cornfields. Well, it comes with the corn now produces a substance that once the bug eats it, it will cause the bug's stomach to either to like
rupture?
Expand to the point where rupture or expand to the point where it
kills it becomes inert and it doesn't get any nutrient from it.
Right.
Yeah.
But once now that that's in the corn, it's in all the corn except for the stuff which is specifically non-GMO. So then the cows eat that, and then you eat the cow, and so then it's in you. And corn's in everything. I when I first heard about that, and I started looking about how, what has corn in it, what doesn't, all of it, and then everything that has high fructose corn syrup in it, that's made from corn. And everything just about has high fructose corn syrup in it. Stuff that has no business having high fructose corn syrup in it, like deli meat sometimes has high fructose corn syrup in it.
Wow.
So I understand, but the way we used to do it before was the right way to do it, by interbreeding stuff. And if the interbreeding that we tried to do killed off or created a sterile version of something, then that's it. And we tried again. So it might take 10, 15, 20, even 50 years to come up with the proper interbreeding of stuff. And we weren't just willy-nilly sort of changing reaching in and taking a piece of genetic material out and putting an artificial piece of genetic material in when there's been no testing. Nobody really knows what this stuff, there's been no testing at all about how this stuff is going to affect the human body over a long period of time.
Right.
So GMO stuff is not, they say, oh, yes, it's safe. But the people that are saying it's safe are the industry that's making these products. It's like the people that are saying that these modern vaccines are safe. Well, all the studies are being done by the people who are making the vaccines. So, of course, they're going to say it's safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, here they come up with a vaccine for the virus, yet they can't come up with a vaccine for, I don't know, cancer. I mean, of all the things that we could, cure, I mean, because cancer is basically a cell that replicates uncontrollably,
Right.
that needs what? Blood supply. All we have to do is cut off that blood supply and it dies. That's how we came up with chemotherapy. You know how we discovered that? World War One. We discovered that, hey, cancer cells die when they're exposed to mustard gas. And that's how they started working with chemicals like that to, you're right, Cool Cat, because they, over time, the cancer cells develop an immunity to the treatment, and that's why some people, they'll have cancer, maybe early or mid stage cancer, beat it, and then all of a sudden they get in, elderly, and all of a sudden that cancer comes back with a vengeance, and that's what happened to my dad. My dad had prostate cancer, and he was in remission for 5 years, and all of a sudden, his cancer came back, and he just lost a crap ton of weight, fell, broke his hip, and they couldn't do anything for him because the operation would probably kill him. So we basically put him in a veterans nursing home, and in less than 48 hours, passed away.
Wow.
Yep. So, and my mom, they were both smokers for many, many, many years. And then they stopped, and what started them again? 9/11. They started smoking again after that because that event just triggered something in them to cause them to start smoking again. And then my dad found out he had cancer, and then the treatment for that touched off his emphysema, which was, non-existent or very, low grade. All of a sudden, he had to be on oxygen all the time. Yeah. And my mom, she, we lost the house because the economy got really bad, and moved into an apartment. And I noticed she's dragging her right leg. I thought that maybe she had a mild stroke or something. So took her to the doctor, and they found out she had brain and lung cancer.
Wow.
And 6 weeks later, she was gone. She was doing radiation treatment, and the cancer did shrink, but it just, it drained her to a point where she just said, I'm done." That was it. So take care of your mom. Always keep an eye on her.
I do the best I can.
Yep.
I do the
Always
best I can.
ask questions like, "How you doing? How you feeling?" And that's what I did.
Well, since we live together, I don't have to do that. I'm aware because I'm I'm here all the time. I know what's going on with her. But
Yep.
the most promising cancer therapies right now, believe it or not, are gene therapy. The therapies,
Right.
because that's what you need to do. You need to find a way to reintroduce. I don't know if it would be DNA or RNA into the cell that corrects the replication rate and changes it from 3 back to 2 and gets it back on a normal path.
Yep. And they're doing the same thing for kids with MD, muscular dystrophy. And that's showing some promise.
Oh,
And
that's great.
but
Cool cats,
here's something you haven't been hearing a lot lately. I don't know. Embryonic stem cells? Remember that was a big deal when Bush was president?
Yeah.
Because we had a line of stem cells and they said, "Here you go." And it's not like we ran out, because you could clone those and they're still the same. Why do you need to kill more babies to get embryonic stem cells? And then we found out it actually causes cancer.
What causes cancer?
Because it was a foreign body. Because we're taking cells and trying to introduce them into somebody that doesn't have the same DNA. That's why adult stem cells work. Because you're using your own body to cure yourself. They even have treatment for people that have bad knees and bad hips. Instead of getting replacements, you get injected with your own, regenerative stuff from your own body. And people are finding out, oh shit, I don't have to get that knee replaced. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, we managed to cover a lot of stuff.
In an hour,
it was a small crowd today. I think it's because football season started back up. And it's still pretty nice weather outside. So maybe in about a month or so, all our YouTube channels will start picking up.
Nothing wrong with a nice intimate group, a dinner theater group, as it were.
Yep.
Maybe when maybe we should come up with an effects track for when that kind of thing happens. We can just play it very quietly in the background of people's forks and the glasses tinking. That kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Maybe I can come up with something for us that runs about an hour long that we can just very gently play in the background. With not necessarily a conversation or cheers or laughter or anything, but just to sort of enhance the mood, give a particular ambiance.
Right. Good idea. All right, everybody in the chat, thank you for coming and putting up with us for an hour. Hopefully we imparted some good information and possibly entertained you a little bit. So take care, God bless, and see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks. Good night, everybody.